Hi, this is the video for Geometry Chapter 1 Review Part 2. You may want to pause the video and make your paper look like my paper. Now, to review, there's really only 3 skills in the second part of the review, but a lot of students need review on getting to parallel and perpendicular equations and then constructions. So I went ahead and separated those skills, standard form and intercept, other forms, and I put separate skill videos. So again, you should be putting check marks in here. So once you watch the video and you make this box, you go back and you're like, okay, this one I mostly have, this one I definitely have, something like that. Parallel, I'm pretty good. Maybe this I'm weak. And maybe your constructions, you're not there yet. So based on what you vote, you might want to go and watch those specific skills. All right, now again, don't forget name, date, and period. Gotta have it. Also, don't forget, you must take notes. That's what you're handing in to me, not just some type of information that you watch the video, like a screenshot or something. Okay, so let's do it. The first skill is standard form to slope intercept form. So I notice X and Y are on the same side, and I'm just trying to get him by himself, Y by himself on one side. So if you'd like this a little slower, go ahead and slow the video down. I'm just going to subtract 3X on both sides. Then recopy the problem. Now still, 2 is being multiplied by Y, so I'm going to divide everyone by 2. And I'm noticing I can cancel some things out. Okay, so everything else looks good. I'm going to rewrite the question. Y is equal to 7 halves minus 3 halves X. So we do this because typically we want to know the slope, negative 3 halves. Perfect. Okay, we'll just do one more. Now it's flip-flop, but that's still standard form. I notice the 3 and the negative 4X are keeping Y from being by himself, so I'm going to add 4X on both sides and rewrite. And I noticed there's 3 is keeping Y from being by himself, so I'm going to divide each by 3 and cancel those. Anything that needs to cancel, those wouldn't cancel. Okay, then I'm going to rewrite it. And we're doing this for the purpose in geometry of finding the slope. So that's just the number in front of the X. All right, so the next skill, skill 5, is other forms. If this didn't help you and you want more help, go to skill 4. Now, I'm looking at it here, and Y is almost by himself over here, almost. The 9 is still keeping him from being by himself. So I'm going to divide everything by 9, and I'm actually noticing quite a bit of this is going to cancel. 9 divided by 9 is 1, and 3 divided by 9 would reduce to 1/3. So a lot of us need practice on just those canceling. But 9 divided by 9 is 1 minus 3 over 9 would reduce to 1/3, and then the X is still there and the Y. So we're doing this to find slope. Awesome. One more. Now the Y is on this side, and it's not really in standard form or slope intercept. It's just Y is not yet by himself, so I'm going to make him by himself by dividing everything by 2 and canceling out as needed. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 5 halves can't be reduced. So we still have Y is equal to 4 divided by 2 is 2. Still have my X, and I have minus 5 halves. We do this for the purpose of identifying the slope, and the slope is the number in front of the X. Good job. Now, why do we really need this in geometry? For parallel lines. If a line has this equation, and we need to write a new line that's parallel to it through this point, we have 3 steps. 1, find the slope. So let's start out with that one. I'm going to break this apart here. So I have 3x minus 4y equals 8. If we're doing better on our steps now, we notice, ooh, I'm going to add 4y on both sides because I like to make it positive. And then I'm going to recopy it. So I have 3x, 8 plus 4y. I need to keep going because I got to get rid of this x, or excuse me, 8. So I'm going to subtract 8 on both sides and rewrite. Okay, and now we're almost done. I still need to divide every term by 4. Now I can cancel. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 3/4 can't be reduced. So let's recopy. 3/4 x minus 2 equals y. So I did all this to do step 1, find the slope. So the slope here would be 3/4. Now parallel means same slope. So I'm going to keep that slope the same. Now we need the point slope formula, which will be provided for you. Y minus y1 slope, x minus x1. So I'm going to take the point that I have. Let's highlight that really quickly. Here's my point. Here's my slope. I'm going to stick it into the formula. Y minus the y coordinate, slope, x minus the x coordinate, and I'll rewrite my answer. Now, on another piece of paper, you've got to, if you run out of room, which it looks like I did, I'm going to switch to pen and try to squeeze it on there. I got y plus 7 equals 3/4 x minus 2 times 3/4. So this fraction is flubbing up some people. I'm noticing 2 divided by 4 would leave me a 2 at the bottom. So ultimately, when I rewrite this, y plus 7, 3/4 x minus, those canceled, so it leaves me 3/2. I have to subtract 7 on both sides, and I get y is equal to 3/4 x minus 3/2 minus 7. Wow, this one's taking me forever. I still have a minus 3/2, and 7 can be rewritten 14/2. The reason for that is 14 divided by 2 is still 7. Now I can combine these terms that are alike. So I have y equals 3/4 x minus 17/2. That's my final answer. That's probably harder than what'll be on the test, but that's great practice. Now let's look here. If a line through points this and this is parallel to a new line through point 7, 1. So you can pause it, write your problem out. So now I notice I don't have an equation. I need this formula. y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So I take my y values, 3 and 2, 3 minus 2, and I take my x values, 3 minus, and my other coordinate is a -3. So I get 1/6. Now I got to make sure it says parallel. So parallel means same slope. So I'm going to take y minus my y coordinate, slope, x minus my x coordinate. So I have a slope and I have this new point, so I can use this formula to plug it in. Y and my y coordinate is 1, so y minus 1 is equal to the slope, x minus 1. Now, that's our answer in point slope form. They usually want it in slope intercept form as well. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to distribute that. I get y minus 1, 1/6 x minus 1 times 1/6. Well, 1 times any number is still that number. So I get y minus 1 is equal to 1/6 x minus 1/6. And I'm almost there. I just have to add 1 to both sides. Perfect. So I get 1/6 x minus 1/6, and I have the number 1, but I need the denominator of 6. So instead of adding 1, I'm going to add 6 over 6, which is the number 1. This is going to let me combine like terms. So now I can rewrite this. Y is equal to 1/6 x, and a -1 plus a 6 is 5 over 6. Awesome.